Good morning, everybody. You're tuned to Computers 2K now on the Nissan Communications Network. I'm Amnon, your host for the next couple of hours, along with Mike.
It's Slim Pickens here today.
Nick should join us shortly. Gal is out of town, and Spence is still out of town. Our number is 919-518-9773. Computers 2K voice on Skype. And this morning show, is made possible by vMix software, Telestream's Wirecast software, and is sponsored by Tom Sinclair Live Streaming Gear.
So I've got to uh, update a previous negative report that I had.
Okay.
You may recall that at the urging of several people here, I installed Vivaldi web browser.
Yeah.
It didn't work well for me. It was literally, I timed it. It was taking over 2 minutes for the page, the first page would, the home page, whatever the landing page was, would pop up, but it would be a 2 minutes before I could click or do anything with it. I went through and noticed that some other people were having the problem. I finally said, "To heck with it." I did the recover, whatever that remove software is that goes through and actually searches a difficult search through the registry and so forth, goes through and gets every nuance of it. I did that, uninstalled the program, reinstalled it, and I like it now. It's very powerful. It's different, but it has things that you have to learn to figure out where they are, but it is very fast. It's probably the fastest opening browser that I have at the moment, but, hopefully it'll hold up. So far, I like it, and the reason I use it, the only reason I needed yet another browser, I have 2 monitors here. When you see me looking over like this, I'm actually looking over at the monitor that has the chat room on it. I'm not looking at the chat room at the moment because I'm setting up Vivaldi, but I often access this computer remotely. And when I do, I only want to access one screen. And what happens is if I drag, for example, Firefox over to the screen on the right, then if I try to start Firefox remotely, it's pretty hard to get it back into the main screen. So I just use this as an auxiliary browser.
Mhm.
When it opens in the right monitor, and I use it for that purpose. And so far, it's working really well.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its share of problems, I'm sure. I don't use it that much. I use it occasionally. Um, but yeah, I like it. It it didn't it never gave me problems, but I had no compelling reason to switch to it on
Right.
permanent basis.
Because I predict what'll happen is one day we'll come in and say, "Oh, guess what? The people developing Vivaldi have decided it's not worth their time. They're gonna go on to riding Segways for competitive sports instead of developing this software." So,
That can happen with anything. I mean, if Bill Gates decided he wants to go to the moon and take
but Bill
Microsoft with
Gates
him.
would have to give up money, which is, I'll be careful. He would have to give up money to make that choice. He's not inclined to do that. People in Vivaldi, if they give up the development, they're giving up a distraction from their personal lives because it's a labor of love.
No, no, but yeah, I agree. It's a nice browser with fast response.
For now, anyway.
Yeah, for now, as they're trying to get it more and more sophisticated, it's going to slow down, of course. But
So the number to call in is 919-518-9773. And if someone doesn't call in and give us something to, or Gene, where are you? Give us something to talk about. We're going to start talking about home improvement.
yep, we're going to talk about this anyway. But let's see. Here is a story that we can bite into. This week, I had three customers that called. I think it was Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday, uh, throughout the day, and said that they got an email that somebody. All right, let's take this first. I'm glad it came now and not
Yep.
later on. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
I may as well stay with you on the phone for the next hour and a half or two
Or
Who's
three.
who's this?
or three. Alan,
Oh, hey, Alan. All right, yeah, you can stay. So you want me to keep going into the and let me tell the audience the fact that Alan is on the phone doesn't mean that you cannot call in also.
Yep.
It's fine, you can. Um
good.
do
Did
what?
before we
You can
go
have
into
as
the
many
story,
on the.
Alan, did you have something in particular you wanted to talk about, or you just want to hang out?
Oh, I'm hanging out.
All right. Well, hang on.
So they said that they got an email and it told them that the first line said that this is your I know that this is your password, and it was a password that they knew, and it said that they installed something on a porn site and they have pictures because they uh,
Oh, I.
turned on the camera on their side on the customer side, and they know where they were and blah blah
Was
blah
it
and
the
all.
right password?
It was correct. It was a correct password to begin with. Yeah, it is
Okay.
a correct password. Let's put it this way. I don't want to
For
give too much right off the bat, but it was a
okay. All right. I'll
password
shut
that
up.
they
Okay.
were familiar with and they
Okay.
knew.
Go ahead.
So, and they wanted anywhere from 1900 to 2900 in Bitcoin in order not to send it to all uh their contacts. So I'm looking at it, and I remember that a couple of months ago, I got one of those.
I did
And I
too.
said, okay, I don't go to porn sites. And there was
Don't
no
have them.
password on the other one, but they said that they did this, and I just ignored it. Here, there was a password. So I called the first one that called, that sent the email. I
You
called.
called the scammer?
No, I called the customer.
Oh, okay.
And I said, all right, first, let's take it one at a time. Did you go to a porn site? He said, yeah, in the past, probably. I said, "Is this the password for your computer or for the remote site?" He said, "This is the password that I use for my computer."
Hmm.
I said, "Okay. So I guess you're gonna. I mean, as far as I know, this is a scam, but there must be something there because they said that they installed a keylogger." I said, "You need to clean your computer." What happened to Mike? Oh, there he is. Um, And I said, "Here, download this and this and this and run it, and then call me back and tell me if it found anything." A couple hours later, another email from another customer said, "I just got this one. What am I supposed to do?" So I called and I said, "All right, first of all, did you go to a porn site?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Is this the password that you're using for your computer?" He said, "No, but it's a password I used to use for my computer." I said, "Okay, we're getting somewhere."
Yeah, I get it.
And we went through the same thing. And I said, it's probably a scam, but go ahead and clean it just to be on the safe side. The third one, I said, all right, yeah, that's a scam. And we started looking. And he said, I use this password everywhere.
There you go.
I said, okay. So they must have gotten it from somewhere on the web. And I said, did you use it on Yahoo? He said, yeah. I said, that's probably where it came from because Yahoo had a big breach. So I said, don't worry, but go ahead and just so you feel better, go ahead and run that program, these programs and clean it. I called the second one that sent the email and I asked him if they used this password on Yahoo. And he said, yes. I called the first one. Yes. They didn't use the second one used a different password for his computer, but he remembers using this password on Yahoo. So the thing that they had in common was Yahoo.
So,
And
Alan, what the password, the email that you got, was it from one of your favorite porn sites or one that you don't go to that often?
And I don't even know which one it would be, but I'll tell you, let's see, not my password, never was any password of mine. About 3 different emails. I've received about 5 or 6 of these. And they all had the same kind of wording.
Yep.
And the first time I got one, I Googled the paragraph and I came up with, tons of hits showing the same wording or of a variations very similar. I am foreign. You will never find me. I've got this thing on your system. I'm going to send send a picture of you pleasuring yourself to the contacts in your list, and so on, so on, so on. And but a couple of password. They said, this is your password. Well, no, this wasn't any password I used, but I'm sure that somebody does. It didn't look like a password. It didn't look like a gibberish password that could be so unique, that they got you.
But let me ask you about that. So someone threatens you. Hi, Nick. So someone threatens you and says, I'm going to send a picture of you pleasuring yourself. And you've never done anything like that, or you think you haven't. What difference does it make? Let them send it. I think it could be kind of funny.
Well, I just about read. I felt like writing back and saying, well, why don't you show me pictures of me?
Oh, they actually.
You'd be, or I would tell the person, I would say, hey, I could get into this with you, but you have to be a little more convincing here. Why don't you send a picture of the person doing that in the email, an HTML content of email, so the person opens their email and they see a picture of themselves. That would be much more convincing. Well, of course it's a scam because they know it's not true. But I wonder how many people are falling for it.
In these 3 emails at the bottom, it said, if you need proof, then let me know and I will send it to 7 of your contacts. That's how they put it. So, if somebody is afraid, then they're not going to say, yeah, go ahead. You see, it's very, very tricky. I went ahead actually yesterday when I had some time to sit around, and I actually deleted my account completely from Yahoo. I don't use it.
I don't use mine either.
So I went ahead and I
haven't
removed
used
it.
mine in years.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the real solution to the problem.
Okay, tell us.
Just publish the pictures yourself. Then what can they? What's the big deal?
I mean, if Andrew said, if they told Andrew we're going to send it to 7 people in your contacts, says no, you need to send it to everybody. This is good stuff. I don't have a copy of that picture.
Say no, I already sent it to 7 in a Skype group. So what's the problem? Yeah,
But
that's an old scam. I haven't heard this one in years.
It is.
That's a really old one.
They just come up with. Here are 3 people, adults. Granted, not very network or internet savvy, but the fact that they worried about it tells you that there's a lot of people out there who will probably send the money.
What was the subject of the email, Alan?
I don't know. I have it on my machine.
You're stupid. Let's see. One said you were stupid.
Let's see if I found
one said I don't know. I can't remember because I
Yeah.
delete them. I see here, oh, there's another one. But the first one or two, I Googled part of the paragraph in the contents of the letter and came up with many people's comments on Google that were saying, "Oh, this is a scam," and here's the one that was sent to me, and they all have the same variation. I'm foreign, excuse my language, because I'm Chinese or I'm Romanian or I'm whatever.
Yeah, it's
They had it was like a form that was filled out and varied by little bits in it.
Hmm. I've never had a Yahoo account. I wonder if that's why I didn't receive it this time around.
It's not too late.
yeah,
I know.
it's and I thought about it, and actually yesterday I read a story that said that they were talking about this, that it's a scam that's going on. So I sent the link to all three of them. I said, "Relax." But the thing is, they change some of the words. I mean, I was looking at it with Ron, my system administrator. And I said, "Ron, how do we stop this from going to customers? Because there is no, you can't just pick up something from the message that is not going to appear in others, and things that were specific to that were between the three messages. It was the little variation. There was a to and there was a by, and so figured out a way how to do it, and hopefully nobody in Delta Force or other domains that we service will get it. But it
Well,
is
I'm surprised that the internet providers' email filters haven't started
right.
catching that, because
Uh,
I don't get a lot of the spam that I once got, because I think the internet provider knows well enough that that's what it is, and I don't even get it.
Alan?
Yes.
Oh, you don't even get. We didn't hear the rest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. Maybe my phone cut out or
It's okay.
something. I don't know. I'm just saying that I am surprised that the internet provider.
Yeah.
Just a minute. I have to turn this scanner off. I'm going to get. You're probably hearing it.
Oh,
Okay. I'm surprised
but
that the internet provider has not caught hundreds of these and said, okay, these are all spam. Let's cut them off.
absolutely, absolutely.
But then all these pictures are going to get published because the people didn't respond.
Yeah. I mean, it is so well crafted. The message is so well crafted that the first guy around, even though I had my doubts, I looked at it and I said, hmm. I mean, they give you the correct password, and the guy forgets that he used it there, but it's the one he's using for his computer. So don't use the same password. That's first thing. And second, just stay away from porn. The thing about it that I thought about yesterday after looking into how to stop it is, if they pulled that stunt a year or more ago when the actual Yahoo leak, the big leak happened, people will probably put two and two together. But it's interesting that somebody now, like a year later, is doing it, and people don't associate it with that anymore. And that shows also kind of like a maturity on the side of those scammers. They thinking, how can we trick those people into
Or they just
believing?
bought the
Or they
set of
just bought,
username and
yep.
passwords
Or they
because they're
just,
probably much cheaper now than they were.
that's very, very, very possible. Yeah. But yeah, it's very interesting. So, hey, Nick.
Good morning.
Morning, morning, morning.
Sorry I'm late.
I heard you had a busy day yesterday.
had a very busy day. About I don't know, 15 or 16-hour busy day. It was a long day
But it
yesterday.
was productive.
Oh, yes.
Just tell us the good stuff. We don't want to hear the whining.
There's no whining. It was 15 or 16 hours jam packed full of good stuff.
Good.
Well,
Good.
give us a quick summary because it was all technical.
Um, well, we outfitted our new transmitter building down here in Wilmington yesterday. I'm working with a local engineer in town. He's been doing some engineering work for 40 plus years in town. And he's the one that is helping us with our relocation of our signal to a new tower in I think it's Seabreeze, North Carolina, I think is the name of the community. So, yesterday, a couple weeks ago, we dragged the transmitter from one site to the other. We did that a couple weeks ago, and then yesterday we went through and wired the transmitter up, wired a rack up, got internet installed, um, put a dummy load on the transmitter. I didn't even tell you this. I didn't even tell you, Mike, but I actually replaced the tube in the transmitter, which
Well,
was a very
here's the question: did you fire the transmitter up to full power on the dummy load?
the dummy no, we didn't go to full power on the transmitter because the dummy load's only a 5,000-watt dummy, so we ran
Did
it
you
at
go to
5,000.
5,000 watts on the dummy load?
Yes,
I,
and it
I,
was pretty
you have
solid.
no idea how big that is.
Yeah, and we're saying we're only gonna run the transmitter at about 2,000 watts. It's much gooder.
Yeah, I mean, you have no idea what a landmark accomplishment that is to have that happen that quickly because we had my father and I installed a 5 kilowatt AM transmitter in a radio station about 100 years ago. This radio station transmitter was actually purchased from WRC in Washington D.C., meticulously maintained. We installed it, everything looked great, and every time we would hit the plate button to turn the transmitter on, it would throw the breakers. And we looked because it was a new installation. We knew we had done something wrong, trying to figure out where we screwed it up. And we were so tired the first night, we just gave up and came back the next night, went through it and couldn't find it. And then finally, the third night, we were pissed off. So we came in and we just started at ground base zero and found out that the the engineers at the radio station, before they put the transmitter together, very smart thing to do. They actually put a shorting cable across the electrolytic capacitors in the transmitter power supply. So the transmitter's power supply was shorted. Now, the reason that's a good thing is because if those capacitors are charged and you touch them, they kill you. It was a very good safety measure. However, there were two problems with that. Number one, they didn't tell us they did it. And number two, the shorting cable that they used to do it looked exactly like a 40-year-old cable that had been in that transmitter for years and years and years. When you looked in there and did a visual inspection, you couldn't see that thing was on the capacitor. What they should have done was put a big piece of paper around it and stapled it and say remove before applying power or something.
Mm.
But then once we took that out and hit the button, boom, nothing, no problems after that.
Yeah,
It was a good feeling.
yeah. So once I replaced the tube, which was an interesting process, very meticulous process. I
So
had to we
when
went.
is the antenna coming in? Where is the
Um,
tower?
Next week.
no, I don't know if the antenna's not coming next week. It's been delayed a week or two, but very soon.
But
It's
do you realize that in changing that tube, if you had not gone through proper procedures, you would be dead now
why?
because you would have hit high voltage contacts somewhere along the way that would have killed you.
Oh, well, that, but also I had to wear, the tube came with a set of blue medical gloves
Yep.
because of the beryllium, is that the
I don't
oh,
know.
it was
Stuff you don't
some
want on your skin.
something, yeah, and it's ceramic coated in something
Yeah.
in the tube, and, it's not good to touch. It won't kill you if you touch it, but it's not good to touch.
But you would not, what I'm telling you, you would not depend on surgical gloves for electrical isolation.
Mm.
No, and the way that, we got around that was using I don't know what it was called. It was a wooden dowel inside of the transmitter that was
Shorting
hooked
cord.
that was yes, that was hooked to had a very
Hook.
long, a very big lead to ground, and I just swung it around touching the, all the transformers and stuff at the bottom.
Everything. You
Yep,
touch everything.
yep,
And
the
and
plate and everything else, and Nothing popped, nothing buzzed, nothing zapped, so we were good to go.
So why did you change the tube?
The other tube was shot.
Really?
Yeah. Transmitter hasn't been used in like 10 years.
I get it, but I don't understand why the tube would be shot,
Yeah.
unless it was shot when they took it
I
out.
think it was shot when they took it out of service, or it was close to. We could have used it. It was just we put a lot of power across it, and it wasn't responding very well.
So I guarantee you the engineer was very happy to see that thing power up.
Yes, he was. He was and but it powered up. We
Nice.
powered it up with the old tube first, and it
Sure.
powered up fine.
The problem with the tube is typically low emission, which means that it'll fire up and work. It just
Oh
won't
yeah,
have the output.
yeah. Well, it had some output. It was just very low output. Um,
So you're happy about it, and you feel like you accomplished,
absolutely.
and that
It's by
is
far
worth
the
it.
most
That's
accomplished, the most stuff I've accomplished in a day that I've been down here about 11 and a half months at this point. It's
good,
by far the most
good, good.
most I've
And
accomplished in a day.
and he's acquiring skills that are very highly in demand.
Mhm.
No, I walked through the entire bottom of it on pen and paper with how the whole how the whole power supply works. That was an
He
interesting.
sat down and explained it to you?
But yeah, yeah. I mean, I've got all the paper. He drew it
Let
all
me
out.
tell you, you can go to university and pay a lot more money and get a
Yeah.
lot less.
I mean, we sat there. We probably 40 minutes going through the whole power supply
Well,
at the bottom.
good for you.
Very
Yeah, it
nice.
was cool.
Very nice.
So yeah, we had an exciter hooked
Good.
up, exciter into the IPA, into the.
No, there's no using these terms.
Look at I know, right?
What
Into
does
the tube.
IPA stand for, Nick?
Oh shit, I don't remember. Sorry, I don't remember what it stands for.
Intermediate,
Integrated
intermediate.
intermediate power amplifier.
There you go.
Um, and
Intermediate means in between. You go from the
yeah,
exciter to the IPA to the final amplifier. So that's
yep,
an intermediate power amplifier.
yep. And then unfortunately, we did because it was so late. We didn't have a chance to wire the remote control to the transmitter, so we
That-
turned it off.
That's a
The
pain in the butt.
transmitter. What?
Remote controls are a pain in the butt.
Yeah, this is an internet-based one. It's actually pretty neat. But once we have that, we're gonna run it at 5,000 watts for 7 days to see how it acts with the new tube.
And the AC worked okay in
Oh,
the
man, it was 60 degrees in there. It was great.
wow.
Nice and cold.
Very nice.
So, yeah.
Very nice.
Oh, and I got I used something out back to more consumer technology-wise. Um, Ubiquiti sells a little router. It's called the Edge Router X. A 5-port router, 4 ports usable if you have 1 WAN. Um, hey, man, this thing is if you would like tinkering around with network stuff, you should go into these. It's $49. It's got PoE in and out. It runs Ubiquiti's router firmware. I've got that thing set up out there. It doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's just a regular, Ethernet router. This thing is super cool what it can do.
But what does it provide that a standard router does not? What's
It's
the
it's
benefit?
not that it provides anything that a standard router doesn't, but it's $49, which, I mean, if you went to Staples and got the even a middle of the road Netgear or Asus, you're probably looking at 70 to 90, maybe even $100,
Easy.
um, for that easy, and then you've gotta deal with their kind of limited UI. This thing has CLI built into it, so you can just access that by default. I've got a VPN running out there so I can access all of the local devices, and it was very, very straightforward to set up.
How fast is the internet?
100 by 10.
Wow.
Mhm.
You can trace the cable. They're using it's RJ8, a thick coax.
Mhm.
They're using RJ8. You can trace it from Time Warner's building, which is just across the plot of land, and this orange
Did they
RJ8 from their
run it
building.
did they run it in the air?
It's on a yeah, there's a catwalk between the 2
Oh,
buildings
okay.
and the tower, and you can just trace it all the way across into our building and down into the modem.
What about latency?
Latency wasn't low, really. I don't think their sites actually that there's something is there, but it's not that the latency was like 25, which isn't bad, but
It's not
not
good.
I mean, for a
it's
radio station,
well,
for
it'll be
transfer, yeah.
sufficient.
Yeah.
So that's all set up out there now.
Good. Good. That is nice, Nick.
So how does the interface look on this router? Is it easy to understand and follow?
Um, yes, the for simple things like port forwarding, there's a nice little interface. For more advanced stuff like setting up a, what did I set up? An L2TP? Is that that's a
I
VPN
don't know.
protocol, I think.
Something like that.
To set up an L2TP, um, VPN service, you have to load up the CLI, um, and but they've got guides on their website how to do almost anything you could think you'd wanna do. And then I mean, you just follow their little guide on how to do it, copy the stuff in, and then reboot it, and it works.
Does it have an external power brick, or do you have to provide power?
It's got an external power brick, or you can power it with PoE.
But does the external power brick plug into the back, or does it power it through PoE?
Depends how you do it.
Okay.
But you can since we don't have PoE out there, the cool thing about this, Mike, is, and I thought about this when I was talking to the engineer, if you needed to put this halfway up a tower
Right.
to extend a signal or something, you don't need power. You just need this. You just put PoE in and it has PoE out. So you could use this in a location where you don't have power accessible as long as you have a PoE switch or a PoE inserter, which Ubiquiti sells. They're not very expensive.
That's what I was actually asking. The brick that comes with it is not an inserter, it's actually a brick.
Yes, I don't think it actually inserts.
Well,
It may, I'm not sure.
That's
I don't
probably
you'd have to have an Ethernet port on it for it to insert.
it's probably for installations that don't have PoE and they don't use PoE, so they
Yeah,
have a
well,
brick to use.
yeah, I'm not I that's a good question if the PoE out gets power, because it is technically a powered switch at that point. It may, I'm not sure. I think it's pass through though.
Well, the PoE out is passed through.
Yeah, so if you don't have PoE, I would assume it doesn't work. I'm not sure.
No, actually, I see what you're saying now. You're saying that may be powered from the brick.
Yeah, because the whole router is powered, so
Yeah,
it's the
that would be an
same
interesting
thing.
question.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I mean, the nicer, from what I can tell, the nicer switches will provide PoE. They're just not very robust.
You know what I found out provides has a PoE Ethernet jack, Mike, the JK Audio, the phone hybrid.
Yeah, I mean, it's not difficult. It's just throwing $5 on the $5, 5 volts on the Ethernet port.
I just thought that was interesting. I unplugged it from the wall and it stayed on, and I was perplexed. I couldn't figure out what was happening, and I was like, "Oh, it must be PoE."
And the other question I wonder is if you're using the brick and you're connecting it to a PoE port, if the power goes out on the brick, does the PoE keep it up?
Well, it would be using the PoE were if you have a PoE plugged in. I don't think it uses the
The brick.
yeah. Yeah, I would assume it just kinda looks past it.
It sure is small.
Oh, I mean, this thing was the size of my iPhone.
Hmm. Well, that's good because the way radio engineers wire audio racks, you can just leave it hanging behind there, just
Oh,
hanging.
I learned how to do everything the right way. Holy moly.
Teach me because I never learned.
I'll send you some pictures, Mike.
Please do. Please do. There is an absolute art to wiring a rack such that it's neat and serviceable.
Yep, I learned how to do everything right. And,
One day.
well, no, not in one day.
That's pretty
Um,
good, Nick. You're a smart learner.
well, yeah, who knows? But, and it was funny, the first thing that we purchased were a table, a chair, a trash can, a broom, and a ladder for the site because there's nothing in there. Literally, it's just an empty building. Um, which is something I wouldn't have purchased any of that.
So the engineer is pretty good about keeping stuff clean.
Yep, yep. We
You could
sweeped
get
it all out
Roger
first.
to help.
We sweeped it all out first and then, started setting up cable and whatnot.
All right.
Wow.
So,
Um, listen to this. This is, I mean, it's kind of scary, but it's interesting. New numbers from researchers at eMarketer reveal that Amazon is set to clear 252.22 billion in US retail sales in 2018, which will work out to 49.1% of all online retail spend in the country, and it's 5% of the retail sales. So Amazon is selling 5% of the total retail sales in the United States and 49.1% of all online sales.
That
Now,
5%'s lower than I would have thought,
well,
isn't it?
I
No,
mean, remember, there's a lot of big stores. People still go to malls and all that. So,
I know, but
grocery
said
stores.
online sales.
the
Y-
island 59, yeah, or 49 rather.
And it's a lot of it has to do with Prime, so
Yeah.
which
Prime
is
Day's coming up.
Now, a lot of people may say, well, look, they're getting to be huge and all that. Remember, this is not everything is sold by Amazon. Amazon is providing a platform for a lot of merchants to sell their stuff. So it's not like it is Amazon that is selling it. You're buying it from Amazon, but you're actually buying it from a merchant that rented a booth at Amazon.
But this
And
is an interesting comment, Amnon,
yeah,
because this goes back to something that Sears Roebuck was accused of doing years and years and years and years ago. That what they would do is that they would do it a little differently. They would try products from various small manufacturers. When they found one that was successful, supposedly they would go to that merchant and say, "Okay, we're not going to be buying from you anymore." "What do you mean? You don't buy from me? I go out of business next day." "Well, okay, then sell us your company." "Okay, pay us 1,000,000. No, we were thinking more like 150,000. I
well,
wonder if Amazon's going to use those strong arm techniques on some of their vendors once they learn which ones are the most beneficial.
Of course.
they may, but at this point, I'm looking.
Why do you say, of course, Alan?
I see that happening if they just hearing about how they treat their employees.
Yeah, peeing in water bottles on
Everything
the
about
shift line.
everything about them, everything about them sounds strong arm.
Okay, but hang on a second. I'm not a fan of Amazon in any way, shape, or form. I have tremendous respect for what they've accomplished, but as a company, I don't like them. But I will tell you that this thing about peeing in water bottles and the way they're treated and all that, you got it may be 100% true and it may be an understatement, but the fact is that when anything you get out of the media, you have to take with a grain of salt. I mean, the only way I
Oh,
would
I
trust
have.
that kind of report is if you told me you had a son or a daughter working there who had to do it. And then I would say, then it's absolutely true. But if you tell me you heard it on CNN, I don't buy it.
Oh, especially on there. I won't either. Okay,
So,
I
so it,
no,
it may be
I'm
true.
sorry.
I
I
can't.
took it a little further, but I just having once worked for Sears, which was actually this arm of Sears up here. As much as they would be uh, things would be fair, they would also do things that were just. Mm, I'm not sure I would.
But I know one thing: the way they are giving, like Amnon saying, in that they are in fact a conduit for other retailers. They sure do get to see the inside of businesses and products from doing that.
Mhm.
They sure do learn where the growth opportunities are for the retail business. I mean, that's a tremendous big data resource for those guys.
Yup. But it's interesting. It's 50-50. I mean, look at the practicality. 50%
You need to get
of
closer to the microphone,
fifty
Amnon.
percent of all online uh, sales in the states, Amazon. I mean, you look at it, you say, "Wow."
So this is why they
Yeah,
feel comfortable jacking the price up on Prime. They feel like
maybe
they've got a lot of elasticity with their customers.
very
And since
possible.
since they've jacked this thing up, I've been doing some informal research, paying attention to what's going on. You can get free 2-day shipping from almost any online retailer now. with the consumer goods, the
Mhm.
Walmart, Staples, Office Depot, Best Buy. A lot of these got free 30, 25. One I saw was a $29 order. Another one was 25. Most of them are 35. Well, okay, but that's what
Mm,
Prime is, right? Now Prime doesn't have the
uh,
$35 minimum, but
it does not, but I would say at this point, 50% of my orders from Amazon with Prime take longer than 2 days.
Yep. So am
Some
I.
of them take 7 days, 11 days.
even though they're marked as 2
They
days.
they
Yep.
marked as Prime. They don't mark 2 days. I
But
don't know how
see,
they
but they are. When they ship, they do ship in 2 days. They just take a while to ship.
yeah, to get it. That's
Right.
right. A lot of them say that it's from the time that they ship it. But if they don't have it in stock, then they have to get it from the merchant and then send it. That's
I
true. But
noticed one other thing that they're doing too, even on the 2-day stuff, you need to be careful because if it'll say delivery in 2 days, and you need to read it carefully because if you're looking at it at 11 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
it may say something like, "If you order within the next 35 minutes."
Yeah, a lot of them do say that. But even those, I mean, I'm seeing things. I mean, I don't have things that I have to get, right
I
now.
but what my
Mm.
theory is, and we'll keep watching this as the show goes on, days and weeks. My theory is that they can't handle the business. That's why they raise the price on Prime. They want to reduce the number of people using Prime. The best way to reduce usage is to increase the cost. What they're doing is they're trying to provide the service for the people who are willing to pay for it, and everybody else, they'll get to them when they can. Now, that's my theory. That may be totally wet
Yeah,
behind the ears.
who knows? Who knows? But he's laughing all the way to the bank.
Well, has he made a profit yet? He went the first 20 years without making a profit.
I don't know. I mean, it's as far as making profit. Come on, Mike. You know
I'm
it, and
sure he was
I know it.
borrowing
That
money
it's
to eat
all
lunch.
a what?
Yeah, I'm sure if he was losing money, he had to be borrowing money to eat lunch, right?
It's their ways how to do it for these people that make a lot of money, and it's fine. But anyway, um, I remember last week saying, "Mike, you have an iPhone, right?" And I said, "Nick, and you do too, right?"
What's an iPhone?
Get a Mac.
So here it comes again. If you've noticed that the battery life on your iPhone is not what it used to be, it's likely that the problem isn't with your iPhone or some settings or app, but a bug in iOS 11.4. It says Apple's support forums has been blowing up with complaints from users that battery life has been seriously curtailed since installing iOS 11.4. The problem seems to be reasonably widespread and affects the iPhone line lineup across the board. It seems to be accompanied by the device running unusually hot. So this happened how long ago with the iPhone with the battery? This was iPhone 6. It's been 2 years where people
At
had
least.
all these problems with the no, it's longer than that. Nick, you remember because you went back and forth to
Yeah, I don't remember exactly
the
what
store.
when this started.
So here it's going on again. Nobody, I mean, I was looking. Nobody's blaming them from doing it on purpose like they did the first round, but it's a problem. So I don't know. Did you notice that your battery is not lasting as long? Did you guys install 11.4? You don't know.
I think I assume so. I don't. It doesn't really give you a choice.
Oh,
What
That's
does
the
it give
one
you
thing with
a
the
choice?
iPhone. What?
I'm still on 10 something.
well,
You can't be on 10. There's no way you're still on 10.
Jesus.
There's just no way. You can't push them off that long. They automatically. I will be shocked if you're still on 10.
Oh, now he's equivocating.
I'm just saying. I'll be absolutely. I'll be absolutely shocked.
I can find out where it says.
It's under general about the version.
Mm, mm, mm.
Can you see that?
No, what does it say?
10.3.2.
How are you still on 10.3?
Do
It
you want
doesn't-
to install? No. How about tonight? No.
It does it like 15 times a day.
No, it cuts down to about one time a week after.
Oh man, I just do the updates because it doesn't stop.
Normally I do all the updates too, but I was having a big problem with battery life. I was having to recharge it at 3:00 in the afternoon. I went to my buddy over here who works on iPhones. He put a new battery in it. It lasted about a week, started doing the same thing. I went back to him about 3 months later and I said, I don't think something's right here. He said, well, we can try a different battery, but and the first negative I've had with him, he wasn't willing to refund the money I paid for the other battery.
Ooh.
But I said, okay, go ahead and put a new one in. And he said, well, if the new one doesn't do it, he said, I'll try to help you with something. We'll figure it out. And he put the new one in there and it's been killer. It's back to the way it was before the problem occurred.
Hmm.
Now, whether having the battery out for that period of time reset something in there or what, I don't know.
Alan,
Yes.
what do you mean you running?
Okay, if I'm
TuneIn.
running TuneIn Radio, the app TuneIn Radio.
On,
And
okay,
I've got the iPhone plugged in to charge, and the screen is lit and through TuneIn.
yeah,
My battery will not stay up at 100% with the charger plugged in. It'll go down to 95, 94, 93, something like that. And then if I disable or turn off the app or turn off and black the screen, the charge will come up again.
My phone does this too. Do you have a Plus?
Yes.
Yeah, my phone does the same thing whenever I travel. I'll be most likely heading up to Raleigh at some point early next week, or early this week rather. So I'll have my GPS on my phone plugged into the charger with the screen on, so I can actually see the GPS, and my battery will go down 1% or 2 every hour or so.
do you know?
Okay, now I just saw Brent's comment on the screen that said that his iPhone 6 says max capacity is 82%. And I think mine says something like that too. I'd have to take a look. I don't have it on at the moment.
Mick, isn't that where you were talking about the firmware was set to keep the battery from charging to 100%?
Yeah, there is that. And they do that out of and it's not that their firmware does it, just the battery over time loses how much it can charge. So the max capacity of the battery is 82. So they make 82 100 and 0 0. You've now changed the scale of your number. So you believe the battery's going from 0 to 60 or 0 to 50 very quick. In reality, it's going from 82 to 41 very quick, which is a little bit.
But the question is, will it keep on going down?
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Of course, over time, the battery loses its.
No.
hold.
No, I mean, Alan is saying that the charger cannot.
He's drawing more out of the phone. The phone is doing more than he's putting into
right,
it power-wise.
and
So you
I'm
can get
wondering if it'll go down and actually deplete the battery.
Yeah, it absolutely will. If you're
will.
using 2% of
Sure it
battery
will.
an hour, and
Dang.
if you're charging 2% of battery an hour and you're drawing 4, eventually you're going to run out. And this is because the iPhone.
That sounds right.
The iPhone Plus screen is a much larger screen than previous iPhones. It costs a lot more in terms of power to power, and you're using something on the phone like a GPS, or you're streaming a radio station, which is using Wi-Fi. The GPS is using the GPS chip to figure out where the hell you are, and then it's using the internet to download the maps and tell you where the cops are sitting, if there's a car sitting off on the side of the road. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on.
I'm wondering if it has to do with the charger also.
It does. I mean, if you get a higher
Amperage.
you get a higher amperage. The iPad chargers are the ones that Apple sells that are the highest amperage chargers. In the car, I cannot kind of understand why it does that. Um,
Hmm.
but yeah, you just get a higher amperage charger. Like you need an iPad power brick or something like that, or a fast charge brick, which you'll
Okay.
have.
Okay. On my iPhone 6 Plus, maximum capacity 89%.
Where do you see that?
If you go to settings,
Yep.
battery.
Hold on. Settings.
On the first screen,
Battery.
you find
Yep.
general control center. Okay, battery.
Oh, the
And
battery
then
health.
you've got something called battery health.
Yep. Yeah, mine's at
Now, I
97.
might have the odd thing I have might be different because I'm on this 12 beta
Hmm.
that was recently introduced by Apple, and I thought I would try it. And I can say there's one thing I don't like about it, and that is that it takes longer for my phone to find the tower. When I first fire it up, I'm sitting there with no service for probably a minute and a half before I
Yeah,
get service
I've been
on my
having
phone.
Alan, I've been having an issue recently. It seems like and I don't think it's my phone. I think it's the cell provider. Yeah, I don't know if it's location based or whatever. It just seems like if I lose service, which there's a spot in the office I work in where there's not good cell service. It's parallel to the elevator. It takes forever for me to get service back. Sometimes I even have to restart the phone.
Now, one question about your service. Who's your service provider?
AT&T.
Okay, so you're getting it from AT&T directly. Okay, no, I was thinking if you were getting it from what would be, I guess they call it an MVNO.
Yeah, like
if the MVNO has the privilege of having multiple carriers to select from, and you have search automatically, because sometimes you have more than one provider.
Yeah, T-Mobile can use Sprint or AT&T's network depending on their region.
So it's sort of like
T-Mobile would do that. Yeah.
So it's not like
at least they used to.
Case,
it's not like load balancing, is it?
No, but T-Mobile, you'll be on T-Mobile's network, but which is Sprint's network. But if you lose T-Mobile in certain areas, this is how they used to do it. You piggyback on AT&T, and your phone will literally say AT&T.
Okay.
And you'll be shot over to AT&T's network.
I don't have this problem.
If you don't use a cell phone, you don't have any problems. You're right.
And staying on that line of iPhone, in the United States, if you have an Apple iPhone or iPad, it's a strong sign that you make a lot of money.
Oh, but thank God I have one.
That's one of the takeaways from a new National Bureau of Economic Research working paper from University of Chicago economists Marianne Bertrand. Across all years in our data, no individual brand is as predictive of being high income as owning an Apple iPhone in 2016.
Of course not, damn not. Who the hell can afford them?
Mike, how many iPhones do you have? You make a lot of money.
But I heard it from the other way around. They were measuring that if you had a Samsung TV, you were making a lot of money. But it wasn't a Samsung phone; it would be an Apple phone.
Well, that makes sense. Those Samsung TVs are freaking outrageous.
Well, it depends. I've got about 2 or 3 Samsung TVs, and I'll guarantee you they weren't one of the most expensive ones there. They were right in the middle of the pack.
See, this study is interesting, Amnon. I don't know how much stock I put in.
This is funny. That's why I'm reading the story. It said, look, listen to that. There are details and caveats to the research, but the economists found that owning an iPhone gave them 69% chance to correctly infer that the owner was high income. which
What's
they
what's their definition of high
which they
income?
defined as being in the top quartile of income for household of that type, like single adult or couple
Oh,
with
well, I mean,
dependents, for example.
well,
Here's
that's ridiculous. So, I mean, I don't know what's the single what's a single 21-year-old supposed to make? I guess I'd probably fall into that. Most of them don't make anything. They're in school.
You're special.
I know
I'm
one
high.
who made over $1 million.
Oh, that was me. I make a lot of money.
It's just, I mean,
Well,
I,
so
I'm
that's how they do it. So if a single if a married couple is supposed average income is we'll use the number 50,000. If you're in the top quarter of that, you're considered high income,
isn't the
right?
Samsung 9 more expensive than the iPhone?
Some version of it, I'm sure is.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get iPhones for as low as $800, but I mean, Sean, I think, just bought an iPhone Plus. I think it was just over 1,000. Mine was about 1,100. They sell one that's about 1,400, I think.
I mean, it's ridiculous, but I'm the
I don't think it's ridiculous. I don't think the price is ridiculous at all. I really don't.
I
do.
I don't.
I tell you what my takeaway from this story is. That money could have been spent much better on other research than to find
for
out
sure.
this stupid kind of information.
Look, think about it this way. If that kind of research really interests you, do yourself a favor and read the book, The Millionaire Next Door.
Okay.
It'll explain a lot of things to you about money.
It's ridiculous. I mean,
I don't think the cost of the iPhone is ridiculous at all.
I do.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
well, no. I said that the cost of the iPhone is ridiculous.
Why?
But this, I don't know, it's too expensive.
Okay, I know, but I used to feel the same way, and I'm not going to be able to rationalize this to you, Amnon, but Mike, I think
Will
I
you buy
can.
me one?
No, I'm not going to buy you one. You already have one.
You cheap.
How many hours a day do you use your phone, and what do you use it for?
How many hours a day? Do you mean how many times do I have it available, or how much time do I actually spend
How
on
much time do you actually spend on it?
I don't spend 30 minutes a day on my phone.
You and I were on the phone for almost 15 minutes yesterday.
Okay, that would be another 15 minutes that I didn't spend.
I mean, okay, well, maybe I'm in the minority here, but
You are no, I'm in the minority.
Oh, okay. Well, then I am constantly on my phone for personal and work related stuff. I would say,
but see, I don't use mine per se for work related.
Okay. Well, yeah. Okay. I would say I'd spend at least 4 or 5 hours on not on the phone, like physically talking, but on the phone a day.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't. Mm-mm.
Well, it can go back and forth, but the point is that the fact that people are getting grants to do this type of
oh, that's stupid.
Well, just you read The Millionaire Next Door. Then you read all those theories and reports and research outputs that you want to. But I will tell you that when you go sit in McDonald's and you sit beside the guy who looks like he's eating on a gift certificate because he couldn't afford to eat there, he's probably got $1 million in the bank.
Yeah, that's what I do. I get the Wendy's 4 for $4.
Yeah,
but even though I make a whole lot of money, I could easily afford the 6 for $6. But
it's a matter of principle, and you got to conserve resources.
All right. Here's another story that I'll begin like this.
Can I guess?
Copyright.
What's
with the impeding closures of Blockbuster?
Oh, I know. This is so sad.
In Anchorage and Fairbanks.
Yeah.
Just one single store will remain in the country. The 2 locations in Alaska will officially close their respective doors tomorrow, leaving just one location in Bend, Oregon. What is special about Bend, Oregon? Do they not have cable TV or something?
The manager of the store in Bend, Oregon did not even realize that she was the last Blockbuster in the country or one of the last. I'm thinking, what kind of rock are you living under? No, it's funny that I read an article about this saying they still sell computer games on floppy disk at
Mhm.
that, or not sell, rent computer games on floppy disk, and she says she's got a whole bunch of young people working there, and they don't really know what any of the technology is, but they're still hanging in there, the final blockbuster.
Well, I mean, it used to be the place, right?
Yeah,
People, u-
I was surprised there was still 3 left.
yeah, it's very, very interesting to see that how things come and go. And for those of you that don't have tablets or laptops or whatever, according to Gartner Group, they found that PC shipments were up globally in the second quarter of 2018. The first quarter of year over year global PC shipment growth since the first quarter of 2012. Since 2012, it was going down, 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 down. PC shipments. Apparently, it's beginning to grow again. They're estimating that worldwide PC shipments grew 1.4% to 62.1 million units in the second quarter. The top 5 vendors were Lenovo, HP, Dell, Apple, and Acer. Lenovo, in particular, saw big gains, its highest growth rate since the first quarter of 2015. Although that's largely due in part to the inclusion of units from joint venture with Fujitsu. So, I mean, the have not gone away, and it just looks like they're making a comeback,
Well, I can tell you why this bump is coming in. The memory and the GPU market are finally starting
right?
to
Yep.
level out. I mean, even up until even a year ago, the memory market was still inflated from that fire in, what was it, 2015? There was that big fire in China at that memory factory.
It happened a few times. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
mean, the last big one was a couple of years ago.
I
Yeah.
don't know what effect it's having on it, but I will tell you right now, the memory manufacturers are swallowing in cash. They don't know where to spend the money. They think it's going to run out. The trend is going to decline by the end of the year, but right now they are just burning up with money. They don't know what to do with it all.
I've seen some. I
Hmm.
mean, I've seen recently some slick deals and stuff for computer memory. It's incredible how low the price these. I mean, this is like Kingston memory or Corsair memory. This is top, the high end stuff.
Interesting.
And here's a this is I mean, I'm looking at this. There's an MSI gaming laptop. It's got an i5 7300, 16 gigabytes of memory, a 256 gigabyte SSD. It's $570
Phew.
on Newegg.
Well, at least the prices of GPUs is coming down, beginning to come down.
We
Yeah,
want with that much memory, you could even run iTunes.
yeah, huh, maybe. Or you could run a parallel and run Mac on it. You'd be good to go. Um, yeah, the GP, like, let's see, a 1070 is the card I've been looking at. It's still a little high. I mean, there's you can get the one that I was looking at, it's about $500. But I would say a few months ago, it was probably 6 or 650. So, it's definitely coming down a little bit. Still not MSRP, though.
It'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully, because I need a new GPU.
All right. Next story here that is interesting is Microsoft is giving its Notepad app for Windows a surprising amount of new features. It says you'll soon be able to wrap around, find and replace alongside the ability to zoom into text by holding down the control key and using the mouse wheel. They're also adding in extended line ending support so that Unix and Linux line ending, the LF and Macintosh line ending the CR are supported in Notepad. Status bar will now be enabled by default, and it includes the ability to display line and column numbers when word wrap is enabled. I use Notepad pretty often because a lot of that stuff I take and I paste into the Linux server, which
Mhm.
does not like Word stuff. Um, the ASCII is the safest way to go, and I didn't find anything that it couldn't do. I mean, am I going to write a resume in it? No. Maybe now
R
you can. I don't
You
know,
write one hell of
but
a resume. You could ASCII art, spell your name and Lowe's still does that, by the way.
who?
Their Lowe's, the home improvement store,
Yeah,
their computers are terminal based still,
right.
and their logo is literally
Oh,
ASCII, like Lowe's with
characters. Yeah.
symbols and numbers to make their logo. But I use Word a lot. I mean, if I need to jot something down I'll always keep a little notepad window open, stuff I need to do,
Hmm. Yeah.
that up there. But I use Notepad++ for everything else.
Okay. Here's something else, Apple fans. According to a note shared by reliable Apple analyst Ming Chi Ku, Apple is planning to refresh a number of its computing product lineup later this year. And this is from Mac Rumors. iPhone. There are 3 iPhones in the works. 2 OLED model in 5.8, 6.5 inches, and 1 LED model that will be available as 6.1 inch. On the iPad, Apple is working on 2 new 11 and 12.9 inch models that are equipped with full screen design and no home button, with Apple to replace Touch ID with Face ID. On the
I
Mac,
hate that.
huh?
I hate that.
Well, I don't know. They must have a reason to do it. Maybe it's cost. On the Mac Mini, processor upgrades expected. MacBook Pro, processor upgrades expected. MacBook, processor upgrades expected. Then they have a new low price notebook.
Hmm.
They believe that Apple is designing a new low price notebook. He originally said that this would be in the MacBook Air family, but now has changed his mind. Previous rumors have suggested this machine could be a 12-inch MacBook. On the iMac, significant display performance upgrade alongside a processor upgrade. On the watch, Apple Watch, 2 new models in sizes that include a 1.57 inches and 1.78 inches with an enhanced heart rate detection feature. So the watch will be able to tell you exactly what your heart is doing.
It does that now,
Yeah, I
but
mean,
it's not very accurate though.
it says it with enhance.
Yeah, it jumps all over the place.
Well,
Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, hey, look, I'm having a heart attack because my heart rate just just shot up for no apparent reason. I haven't done anything."
it's interesting. I mean, what I wonder what processors are in the MacBook and the MacBook Pro and all these.
Well, they haven't really done a refresh,
Oh,
specifically the Mac Mini. They have not made a Mac Mini since I wanna say 2011 or 2013. But you're talking about a very old system. Um,
and aren't they going to their own processors or something? Didn't they?
no, I don't think so. I mean, they're gonna stick with Intel.
Oh,
I think, and I mean, I could be wrong on that, but this sounds like this is Apple has to do this every once in a while. They get so far behind on stuff because they're so slow with the revisions that this is gonna be a massive
no,
there's gonna
don't
be
say that.
what?
They're so slow on their vision.
Well, I don't know, that's something. They're
Trendsetters.
Well, in some respects they are, but they're slow when it comes to upgrading the power of their computers. I mean, that's no surprise. Um, and so this is gonna be their attempt to come out with a brand they are literally updating every single computer that they sell. You just read through almost every single product that they sell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they said
I'm
across
excited
the
for that
line.
new low price MacBook. If I could get a little some type of little MacBook for, I don't know, $700, $600, that would be cool.
Yep.
Well, I just settled for getting used ones for $300 each
Where did you get those?
at a shop in Edmonton.
Oh,
Bought a MacBook one day at a shop, and another shop I bought a Mac Mini, used Mac Mini.
the Mac Mini's a cool little device.
I would like what I would like updated is that my output, my video output isn't true HDMI. It's DVI output, and it doesn't provide audio.
That's a problem.
So I decided to put my Mac Mini on with the video port to VGA adapter, so I
Yeah.
could then use the audio to the TV, which is fine. I use this 46-inch Sony that my friend gave me because he bought a 56-inch TV or 55-inch. I think it was a Samsung.
There you go. Yeah,
Sony was collecting dust.
I'm excited for these updates.
No. You're gonna have a new one.
Who?
You. I mean, somehow you will upgrade. I know you.
Oh yeah,
Well,
I'm a
I'll
big
get
fan. I've
something.
got all my Macs I need to update.
Oh.
I've always wanted a MacBook. I could just never justify the cost for it because I'm not gonna fully jump into the ecosystem because I use Windows everywhere else. That's why I've just been so hesitant. I think I think Mike. I mean, I don't know if Mike wants to elaborate on this. He bought a MacBook Air a couple of years ago. Why didn't you use it, Mike?
I had trouble getting used to it.
Yeah,
When are you
you weren't going all in 100%, so it was hard.
when are you buying your next iPhone?
Who?
Nick.
Oh God, I just got this iPhone. This iPhone's not even. This is the current.
Oh,
Still
that's
their current
right. You did.
generation.
You did.
It paid off, and it's just 72 more months.
Oh, stop! I paid the full price for this thing in cash at the Apple Store. So I don't want to hear any of that 72 months crap.
This one, you had to be there, but that where that came from is that we had a buddy who he was crazy. I mean, he just was insane. His brother was a manager for the Allman Brothers, but I mean, this guy was just insane. I mean, he almost you would think he was bipolar the way he was so up and down all the time. But he drove up one time. He was a kind of a wheeler dealer, and he'd go out, and if he'd see a car in your yard, and it's an old car. He said, "How much you want for that car, Nick?" "Oh, $800. Here, I'll give you 300 for it." "No, I'll take 400. "All right, I'll take 400." And he knew how to fix cars, so he'd take it home, do the very minimum that he could do to get this thing running. And then after he get them running, he'd drive them around a little while. I mean, he liked playing with cars. He drove up in this piece of junk one day, and I mean, this thing looked like 2 or 3 people had been killed in it. And he looked at it and said, "Mike, what do you think of that car?" And I looked him in the eye, and he said, "Just 61 more payments, and it's all mine." And I mean, you had to be there, but there's so many people who are actually living like that, buying this junk and getting these easy payment plans and then selling their souls.
That's how I do everything. I buy my groceries on payment plans.
Title toter lot. Bought it at a title toter lot.
You what?
You would have bought it at a title toter lot.
Oh,
I don't even know what that is.
title toter lot.
Buy here, pay here car lot.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In other words, they sell you a car for $1,500. It's worth $500, and it's got a $600 down payment, and then they'll carry the balance. They'll finance the balance without having to go to a bank.
But
That's
they'll
interesting.
try to make you but they'll do anything to make you default on it.
Mm.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't
On the
know.
day that the most people's payments are due, they close, and then they repossess for not showing up to pay.
Well,
That's why you buy a new car. Problem solved.
all right. Um, this is an interesting thing we can talk about. Facebook says it will not remove fake news from its platform
What?
because it does not violate its community standards. According to the BBC, Facebook said publishers often had very different point of view, and removing fabricated posts would be contrary to the basic principles of free speech. Instead, it is choosing to demote posts in the news feed that it deems to be fake news. So they're not going to remove it. First, they said they will.
Well, I mean, that's a good step in the right direction. But we already know that. Okay, I guess I need to actually spit out a sentence here. Um, they don't have to delete it to make it not show up anywhere, and that's what they're going to do. There are news sources. There's types of news. There's certain political leanings that
Yes.
Facebook shutters. They don't have to. Oh, we're not deleting it. But if you don't show it to anybody, what the hell's the difference? You
What
might as well
Nick is
delete it.
trying to say here is this is double speak.
Yeah,
It's absolutely double speak. I mean,
exactly.
we've already seen it. I mean, you get all these pages on Facebook. Most of them, and there's some that are left leaning that are hit with this, but the majority of them are right leaning pages, and their post reach will just become non-existent. Diamond and Silk, great example. Magically, like overnight on Facebook.
Yeah.
So I mean, they don't have to, but I mean, even you had this week. I don't know if you saw this, Amnon, but there was a editor for a major news outlet. There was an editor for CNN that was calling on Facebook to block Infowars from
Yep.
their
You
platform.
saw that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
sent you a link to that.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
They,
I
they
mean,
said that they will make a martyr out of him
yeah,
if they did.
yeah, but I mean, but that's the whole thing. Is it's like this is what people think.
Well, I mean, the fact that somebody from CNN asked them to, that's not surprising. If they will do that, that will be. I mean, it's and look, they suppressed conservatives before.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, they admitted to it.
Yeah. So it's not like this is why it's a double standard.
It's
I mean,
just scary.
why do you want to leave and just demote it?
I just I don't like this term, and I think we've and people on the right have done ourselves a disservice by bolstering this term fake news
Mm-hmm.
because now it's just being used to explain everything. Everything is fake news now, right and left,
Well, yeah.
and it's just like that's
Oh.
I don't think it's worked out very well. So who knows?
Oh well. Yeah. Let's see what else we have here. Listen to this.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. No.
I thought I don't. Did you ever talk about the Apple employee with the self-driving car?
No.
Okay, so I saw this article throughout the week. I bookmarked it. So a former Apple employee who was working with Apple's auto vehicle. I don't know what the name of the program was. The autonomous driving program that they had. He was working on their self-driving car project. He left Apple in April. Um, he was working in China, and he left in April to go work for a Chinese electric vehicle company. Apple is now accusing him of stealing trade secrets. Apparently, well, he's been accused of copying more than 40 gigabytes of Apple's intellectual property to his personal laptop
Wow.
before leaving the company. He's now being sued by Apple. Fortunately for his new employer, Apple's not suing them. But I thought that was interesting that somebody that was working on their Apple hasn't done anything with their self-driving car project in the public. All of that is they've got all that stuff pretty locked down in terms of public's view of it. And this guy stole a whole bunch of it. I mean, I don't know.
Uh, do they even have a product? They
No,
don't.
they don't. But they've got the intellectual property. I mean,
Yeah.
they have all that.
There was something similar to that with Tesla. Not that he went somewhere else, but they fired somebody who leaked information, and they sued him. So he went, and he's saying that he's a whistleblower, that they
Oh god.
fooled a lot of their investors and all that. I don't know.
I hate that term, whistleblower.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's okay to steal things because
Hey, Tommy. Um, According to a new study by Hub Entertainment Research, viewers are increasingly defaulting to on-demand sources like Netflix, Amazon, Prime Video, Hulu, instead of live TV. The study found that only 39% of viewers tune into live programming from a traditional pay TV provider, down from 47% last year. On demand sources collectively were the first choice for 48% of viewers. Um, this is that's really interesting. It shows, and when I'm thinking about it, so what if I don't see this episode live right there and then? I'll watch it tomorrow. It's very, very interesting to see the trend that people want to watch when they want to watch, not when the network says this is when we're going to put it on.
yeah, and I mean that's the difference. I mean, we've seen this with the success of people like HBO, for example, with HBO Go. You can watch HBO. So Game of Thrones is their biggest um,
Right.
product, I think. You can watch that show if you have a cable HBO TV subscription through cable or satellite. You can tune to. I mean, I don't know what the HBO channel is, but you tune to the HBO channel, and at 9 o'clock Eastern on Sunday or whatever time it comes on, you can watch it live. And it's live in a respect that they are literally feeding that show via satellite down to your TV.
Right.
But you can but at 9 p.m. Eastern, you can go to hbonow.com and you can stream
The same.
like a YouTube video. You're not watching it live,
Mhm.
but the other show's not live either.
Right. It's
I mean,
not.
it is and it isn't. It's live in the sense of it is literally you are literally watching a live feed from HBO, but you're not watching a live video. And the web stream is not a web stream. You cannot watch HBO live online. You can watch their shows
Right.
because HBO Live isn't a real thing.
Correct.
But you think it has a different it has just it's just different though because when you're tuning to a cable channel, it's live.
Well, depends. I mean, when you
But
see a
but it is,
movie,
but
it's
it's always
not. It's
live. If you're
live, but
watching
it's not.
But if you're watching a cable channel, it is literally live.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, they are
there's
sending
somebody
something to you
there's
live.
somebody on the other side. You mean?
Yeah, I
But
mean,
when
they are watching a screen in a control room.
Yeah.
They are sending a show out to you, and
Right.
15 seconds later, it's popping up on your TV. It is literally live.
Right, but
But
but it's a recorded show that was filmed. Who knows
it's a
when?
recorded show,
Yeah.
and you can watch it online in VOD form, video on demand form. So
Mhm.
you can pause it.
Right.
It's not a live stream. It's not a sporting event. So that's how they've got around it. You cannot watch HBO Live online, which is weird.
I mean, otherwise they would have to do 24/7, like what we're doing right now.
But that's what they do on their
That's-
TV channel. Essentially, it's the same thing.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
24/7 content.
Yeah, but watching it live means watching the content simultaneously with other people is what live means.
But-
That way you don't.
And when is the last time that you watched something live and were in contact with other people? Said, "Did you see this?"
Even if you watch the Grammys or some other trash like that, then it's still gonna be on a 5 to 15-minute delay so that they can calm down these morons who gotta get up there and and do their filth.
But see, even with that, Mike, you can still watch on their website at the same time as everybody else.
Right.
That's what's so weird about HBO and this whole thing is I can click start when my computer clock hits 9:00:00 PM tonight. If I wanted to watch Game of Thrones, which I don't think is even in season right now, um, I can click play and it'll just start.
Oh. I gotta tell you that, I've asked some my friends what they're paying for TV and cable and all. It blows me away.
A lot.
Yeah.
You're paying a lot or they're paying a lot.
They are, I'm not. I'm paying $155 a month for gigabit
Wow.
internet plus TV. All the TVs got either 4 or 5 boxes in the house, and,
It's a great deal.
well, I think it is. I mean, it's a terrible price, but compared to what you can get, it's a good deal. So I'm not really complaining, but I'll tell you, if the price goes up, I'll take it out.
Yeah, I've got probably 2 more months on my, introductory Time Warner Cable, promotion, my 39 or $49 a month, 39. So we'll see how much they try to raise the price. I'll tell them I'll cancel. I don't care.
No, you don't have to tell them you cancel. You just cancel.
But, then I'll go get AT&T or something.
And I was reading somewhere that actually Sling has all the local stations in every market.
I
That
don't understand.
Not in every market, I don't think. I mean, damn, that's a hell of an operation if they've got it in every market. Got it in most major cities.
was I mean, that's worth it.
Sling is still expensive though. I mean, we did this a couple weeks ago, with Gall, and he's obviously not here this week. He's away, but let's see how much is Sling. I mean, the cheapest plan, which is only 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 28 channels or so,
Mhm.
is $25. I mean, and the channels that are on here are not very compelling. Bloomberg Television, Newsy, Viceland, 3 ESPN channels, the AAC channel, Local Now, which is a weather channel. I mean, half these channels aren't even compelling.
Mm.
And their big bundle is $40 a month, which is on sale right now, but it's an introductory price.
Okay. Well, I don't know. It seems like I thought it was like $10 a month.
No, I don't. They've got. I think they've got the YouTube TV. I think has got the best deal, but they're not in every market. They are in Raleigh. They're not.
Now,
They're not everywhere
Tim
though.
Tim is saying with the $15 antenna. Oh yeah. Okay.
DirecTV.
Well,
Tim might
why
be
do you
right on
need
DirecTV
Sling at
now.
that point though? With a
Why not get what?
$15 antenna, you can get all your local channels with Sling. Why
No, I
do you
think he's
need an
saying without.
antenna?
I think he's saying without Sling. He's saying with, but without. If you put an antenna up, it doesn't matter if you get your local
Right.
channel.
Yeah. So DirecTV now is a better deal.
Yeah, they've got. I think they've got one of the best deals. I don't remember the price on it, but when I was, because I was curious. I mean, I don't watch TV a whole lot. I don't actually watch it all. When I do, I stream it online.
Oh, he said without, yeah.
Um, but I've been looking. I wish a service like that was more. I wish I could just buy a couple channels. I would spend $10 a month if I could buy.
Nobody has an a la carte at that point.
Some of them
Still.
do, but you can get a la carte, but you've got to have
A minimum.
certain plan to get
Like
an
a
a la
base,
carte. Like,
yeah.
if I would spend $10 a month to get, like I mean, I could name off 10 channels right now. I'd probably want Fox Business, the two or three ESPN channels. I could spend $10 a month on that, but nobody offers it. I would get Fox, CNN, MSNBC, 3 ESPN channels, and then 3 or 4 more.
MSNBC, did you what?
Yeah, I would get all 3 of those news channels because I enjoy watching that. I enjoy watching that,
But
that
see,
dumpster fire.
but if you watch MSNBC, you're gonna double their ratings.
I mean, that's fine. And maybe Fox Sports or something like that. I mean, I could get 10 channels, but nobody offers that because they don't make any money on it.
BSNBC,
I mean, this is the most
right, Mike?
asinine thing with Sling. Half of these channels aren't even cable channels. Newsy is an online news service. Viceland is a YouTube channel that has a web stream. Bloomberg Television, Bloomberg Television is legit. Cheddar is another online news channel. I mean, these aren't even TV channels. Most cable systems do not have this stuff available.
Well,
IFC is like a online movie network.
and you can get it through the internet by subscribing, or you can't.
I'm not sure. I don't know how exactly
Oh,
IFC works, but I
okay.
mean, these channels are just not appealing. I mean, I challenge anybody to go look at this list, and as I'm saying, Newsy, it's just these are just. I mean, look at this channel lineup. This is just not appealing. I share this on my screen, Amnon. If I share this, will it
As
show
long
up?
as it's not gonna flag us.
Oh, it's just the channel logos. Uh, that is Sling's $25 or that is Sling's $25 package. 3 ESPN channels, 2 Disney channels, AAC Sports, AMC, CNN. I don't know what the one next to that is. HGTV, Comedy Central, Cartoon Network, the History Channel, TNT, Food Network, TBS, BBC America, IFC, Epic's Drive-In. I can only imagine what that is. Something Shortlist, A&E, Viceland, not a real channel. Lifetime is a real channel. Travel Channel, Fuse, Newsy, Cheddar, and Local Now are not real TV channels, and Bloomberg Television is an online TV network. $25 a month.
Hmm.
I just think it's interesting.
It's interesting. Yeah, we'll need to talk about it more when Gal gets back.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a basic. I can go get a box from AT&T for $35 a month.
Yeah.
And I'll have damn near 500 channels.
Yeah.
We'll get there. I think we're right on the tip of the spear with this whole thing.
Right. Yeah.
We're very close to to getting that. And Tim is posting DirecTV now. Yeah, I think they do have the best lineup from what I remember.
Hmm. You know, the thing that I'm waiting to see is whether or not the bandwidth providers, internet providers, are going to start putting the providers that also provide TV, if they're going to start putting caps like Spectrum if you
Well,
don't have TV.
and this is part of what Mike would be called principled entrepreneurship inside of these companies. Why is Spectrum not providing a damn IPTV package? I mean, they've already got the
They
deals and
are.
they're not.
Yes, they are.
How?
I learned about it last night. I asked my daughter and son-in-law what they were doing for TV, and they have Speculum. I said, "Really?" "Yep, we do the IP package." "Oh, what is that?" "It means that you have to get it on your computer. You don't have a box."
They
That's fine,
sell
but
it?
you can put a computer on your TV.
Well, that's what they did. That's the first I'd heard of it, Nick.
They're
I
probably
want
using somebody
I
else's
wonder what it
login.
I wonder though what it looks like when you blow it to a big TV if they
Well, as cheap as
sending
they
you.
are, I don't think they care. I
Yeah.
mean, most of it's not worth watching anyway. What difference does it make?
Yeah, I don't even see it. I don't know how they have that. I'd be curious to figure out how they're buying it and how
But you
much it
gotta
is.
be ready to cancel because at one point they were whatever they were doing and they lost their special and they jacked the bill up. And so my son-in-law just called and said, "I want to cancel." "Why are you canceling?" "The price is too high." "Okay." They canceled it. Didn't even offer him anything. Didn't even argue with him. Just
Yeah.
depends on who you get. I mean, if you get a speculum employee who's been mistreated, who's not appreciated and all that crap, "I wanna cancel." "Okay, great."
That's how I would respond.
Yeah, whenever I pull that trick, I call in and I tell them that I want to cancel, and uh they ask why. It's because the price, and I'm going to look at others. I just wanted to see if you have something else, and I don't cancel right there and then. I say, okay, let me look and find out, and I'll call back and cancel. And most of the time, they say, oh, hold on, let you talk to somebody.
They're pretty good about sensing the tone in your voice.
Yeah,
If you call up playing the game, they can sort of detect it sometimes, depending on how long the person on the other end has been doing it and how good they are. Because the few times that I've had to do it, I mean, I before I play that game, I call up to cancel. I'm canceling and I already have plan B worked out. Now, I leave a little wiggle room in there in case they wanna come around, but if they don't, there's nothing to discuss. I'm not paying $200 a month for television.
yeah,
Ain't happening.
yeah. Until we have, I mean, till every location has multiple uh competitors at better price, there's no incentive for them to lower the price. I mean, if AT&T comes and has gigapower all over the area, then a lot of people will jump ship just because, well, the first year or first 2 years is cheap.
Yeah,
Well, why not? And they don't want to lose you.
part of the problem with à la carte channels is they've got so much crap out there that they get to piggyback on the desirable channels that they are not willing to allow you to pick. I mean, everybody in the audience, if you would, if you had à la carte channels and you would choose to get a shopper channel, raise your hand.
Oh,
Stand on your
wow, a
head.
lot.
Yeah. So I mean, they've got this crap like ESPN that they make you take that you don't want,
Mhm.
so that they can play footsies with ESPN. I mean, I'm paying probably what, $8, $9 a month of my cable bill is probably going to ESPN. I don't even know what channel it's on, and in fact, I'm not even sure if it even works on my TV, but it's I'm having to pay for it. So they don't want you to pick a la carte because that would ESPN would never be in my package, nor PMSNBC or BSNBC or CNN. I mean, we have that crap. We don't watch that crap.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of other people don't either because MSNBC just dropped below HGTV in national audience in the United States.
You literally can do this. So Spectrum does offer this. It's
Okay.
hidden. It's called Spectrum Choice. It's not
Seems like
anywhere on their website.
in other words,
In other words, they're not promoting it. I found the link through an LA Times article because they don't offer it anywhere. If you search for Spectrum TV, Spectrum IPTV, Spectrum Streaming TV, it does not come up. It looks like it's not it's not that good of a deal though. It's $21 for 10 channels.
heck, I would do that.
At that point, Sling's a better deal. Get 30 some odd channels for
Well, look,
25.
I detest Spectrum from the word go. I mean, from a company perspective, but I will tell you this: their internet and TV channels are solid. Now, granted, their TV channels are extremely compressed. Got it. But in terms of reliability, it is that coax cable coming to your house is much more reliable than the more higher technology fiber.
Really?
Sure,
You are on AT&T Gigapower, right?
correct.
How many times did it go down that you can remember?
It's gone down 3 or 4 times in the last 3 months.
Hmm. And stay down for an extended period. Like, I
No,
mean,
it was the thing is that it's going down for short periods of time quite regularly,
what is short?
15 minutes,
Okay.
fairly regularly, and I thought it was just me. I posted on nextdoor.com. Other people said they were having the same experience.
I see with Time Warner, since I monitor the servers, which is a terminal through Linux, if there is like a few seconds break, I see it because the session, one of those sessions on the monitor out of 8, they'll start disappearing.
Yeah, they'll drop out.
Yeah. And this happens 3, 4 times a week.
Wow.
Um, and you watch it and you see you try to ping, you try to go somewhere and it doesn't go there, but I mean, in a matter of seconds, 10, 15 seconds later, it'll come back. So I don't know what that means. So if you're
Well,
just
look,
watching TV or if you just
if they're
using
doing maintenance to provide excellent service,
yeah,
then it's worth the trouble.
okay, yeah, but I kind of doubt it's because of
Well, I
maintenance.
don't know that, but if they're just if they're playing whack-a-mole and just covering over the problems as they pop up, then I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, that's if Speculum were to go with symmetrical like AT&T has, they'd give AT&T a run for their money. I don't know anyone who has a choice between I know they're out there, I'm not saying they're not, but I don't know anyone who has a choice between AT&T and Time Warner who's sticking with Time Warner.
Uh, well, I mean, I would because the only choice with AT&T, which I do have also, is the 5 by 45.
I get it, but I'm talking about with the fiber.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't.
I mean, they're out there. I mean, I know I'm just telling you right now, I can't name anyone in that category. I'm sure they're out there for whatever reason, but I mean, right now, for example, Spence has Time Warner. If AT&T or Google ran fiber down his street, he would be
It,
out there bribing the guy to run it into his house the
yep,
same day
absolutely.
to get away from speculum.
Yeah, agreed.
But I will also tell you, recall back going back 5, 6, 7 years, Amnon, that I had terrible problems staying connected for a long time when we did the show from my old house. That's when I got really angry with Speculum or 8 Time Warner at the time. I would call them every day or 2. Here's the problem. Here's the problem. And honest to God, they had to come to my, I counted it. They had to come to my house 10 times to finally find the issue.
Yeah, I
And the
remember.
last time they came, the supervisor came to shut me up because I started complaining to the Utilities Commission, even though it really doesn't impact them very much. But he came out there and he put what's called a time domain reflectometer. You remember this?
Yep.
He put one on the pedestal at the street and saw a problem in the feed coming, the RG6 coming into my house, underground coming into my house. Actually, it's RG, I don't know which one it is. It's RG6, I guess, from the street. But anyway, he found that there was a sharp bend in the coax near the where it came to my house. They actually cut it, put a splice in it, mounted a splicing block inside the house, came up around the corner, up through the bend, never again had another problem. That had been the problem all along.
Yeah,
I will
and
tell you that if you've got a problem with Time Warner or whatever their name is this week, you need to call and complain, call and complain, call and complain. I've got a contractor here. We're doing this work right over here. We're adding a shower to a bathroom, turning a half bath into a full bath. And the guy's doing, I like the guy a lot. He's a fun guy. You would enjoy talking with him. The quality of the work so far has been excellent. His contractors have been excellent. I mean, I really don't have much to complain about except one thing. He is a terrible communicator. He is I mean, I have to text him, ask him everything instead of him being proactive about it. Would that cause me not to use him again in the future? Possibly. But at least right now, the quality of the work is good. This 2.5 week job has now been 6 weeks. So
Well,
we'll see.
all right.
I can't even log into my Spectrum account. They say I don't have an account at this address. So that's interesting.
Well, when the bill comes in, just mark it through and send it
I
back.
mean, I know. I don't even know how to view any of that
Yeah.
information. They won't give me any information. Jesus.
What account? What are you talking about?
I know. Seriously.
Yeah.
So are you doing any more engineering today, Nick?
No. I gotta go up in the studio.
Earth to Nick.
Yeah. What?
Are you doing any more engineering today?
No, I'm not.
You gonna go sit up out of the pool?
No, I've got to go to the office and finish cleaning everything up.
Engineering.
No, cleaning.
Cleaning up is part of engineering.
Well, you're taking it easy today, I guess.
No, I'm right after I'm out of here. I'm going
You
over to
should.
the office.
You should take it easy.
Yeah. Plenty of time for that.
You're doing a show tonight,
Yes.
live.
Yes.
Okay.
It's my plan, at least.
All right. Well, it's that time of day. Unless you guys have something else you want to bring up. Unless somebody else in the chat wants to bring up. Going once. All right. Thanks, Mike. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, everybody in the chat. And good morning, Kathy, Hannah, Nabil, Mac, Norm, Katie, and Donna. Thanks, everybody, for tuning to Computers 2K Now. We hope you enjoyed and maybe learned something from our time together. Remember to practice safe computing. Back up your hard drive and update your virus scanner. We'll be back here next Sunday at 9, but you can always reach us at computers2know.com. While you're at it, like us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tonight at 7, Nick Craig hosts Against the Norm on Wilmington Big Talker 106.7. And you can listen to it anywhere in the world on TuneIn. See you next week.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by Telestream's Wirecast software, StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.